right, Myles. When did you start playing sports? And when I say sports, I'm talking about not just basketball, because I think you played some football too in your time, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When did it start for you?
I mainly started playing sports around my third grade year. Is when I started playing every other sport: basketball, soccer. I ran track and football. I think after about my fifth grade year, it just mainly became basketball because my dad was the basketball coach for my sixth grade school at Cooper.
Yeah.
So I used to work out with them every day after school. So it just became basketball after that.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, any of the sports, were they forced on you, or you kind of found them on your own? Like it was your choice. Like, hey, I want to play this. Hey, I want to play that.
I don't think any of them was actually forced on me. It was mostly something I wanted to do.
Right.
I couldn't say that about football. I don't think I really wanted to play that at one point. It kind of felt like it was forced because my brother loved playing football.
True that.
So it just felt kind of forced. But after that, second time of a year playing football, I quit and played basketball mainly.
Yeah, quit. Now, when you say quit, like in my mind, whenever I hear quit,
well, okay,
I think like in the middle of the season or something, you was like, I'm through. Did you finish out?
Yeah, I finished out.
Smart man. What position did you play out there in soccer and in football and track? What'd you run when you were out there?
I ran track. I did long jump. I did the 4x4 and the 100-meter dash. I don't think I did anything else after that. Soccer, I don't even remember what I played in soccer, to be honest. It was so long ago, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, man. But you know what? I've known in my short stint as a coach now, the soccer players that I've had, their footwork is always incredible, man. Could you think of some things that you could take from those other three sports and apply them to basketball? Like, how does track relate to basketball and football and also soccer?
Soccer, actually, I do remember one time in 7th grade, I was going to try for the soccer team.
Right.
It was all footwork. I was out there trying my best. One time, I just quit after I think the third try. I just quit. I couldn't do it.
Right.
But footwork it's really needed, and the speed for track, it helped out with my speed and conditioning. And football was just more physicality, just out there getting hitting people, and all that.
Yeah. Now in football, did you play both ways?
Yeah, I did. I did safety and I think running back.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, which one was the most enjoyable? And before you answer that, I'm gonna tell you what people always tell me is like, man, I love playing defense, and they always say because they like to hit people. Like, what's your philosophy on that?
It was mostly running back because I thought I was pretty fast, so I thought I could outrun people. Mm-hmm. I didn't like getting hit though. I'm gonna tell you that I didn't like it at all.
Golly.
I tried to juke people out all the time.
Oh, finesse, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, how long did you play football from? We're talking from 3rd grade until when did you decide? It's just hoops now.
5th grade.
5th grade?
That's when I stopped playing every other sport besides basketball.
Was that your call? Were you able to?
That was my call. I could have, 6th grade year, my dad kept telling me I could play any sport I want.
Right.
And I just mostly picked basketball. He became the coach for my 6th grade team and everything.
Good deal. And that's actually a good segue because I want to ask you, man, how is it having a dad as a coach, number one? And then number two, how is it having your dad as your coach? You know what I mean? What was it? Is he super rough on you, or is he just kind of fall back and let you find your own way?
Oh, okay. So probably through my 6th grade, he was only my coach for my 6th grade year, but he was always on to me about everything. But he was also trying to let me figure out how to do it on my own because at the time in 6th grade, I was still scared. I wasn't doing much. So it was tough for me. And having a coach, like having him as the coach, it's like if you're not playing, it's people from school is going to start talking mess, talking about the only reason you're on the team is because you're the coach's son. So I had to go through that my 6th grade year because I wasn't really doing much on the court.
For sure. And
then my 7th grade year when he stopped becoming my coach is when I feel like that was my chance to actually, make the team. So it was nervous for me my 7th grade year because I was so used to him being the coach for everything I did.
Right.
So but it's pros to it. I mean, I was always able to get into the gym.
Right.
He was helping with everything I needed. Was able to find me on better teams or working out. It was great though.
Would you say you enjoyed playing for your dad? Because I know some people like, man, they feel as if it's an obligation. But then I've got some friends of mine who said, man, I loved it. How do you dig it?
Actually, I loved it and hated it at one point.
Oh snap! Okay.
So
didn't see that one coming.
I loved it because he was out there telling me I can just shoot the ball, do anything you want. But I also hated it because every mistake that happened, he would get on to me and I hated it. I would always mumble on my breath and he'd say something. It was just horrible. But also, it's really fun because he's out there. He can see everything, so he knows where I'm gonna mess up at, and he helps me as soon as I mess up. He's able to tell me what I do. Unlike other coaches here and there, they don't really tell players what they need to work on and stuff. Right. But my dad, he wants to see everybody succeed. So it's it's great.
That's one thing I respect about him and about coaches who do, because it's one of the things I can remember coming up in the era, because I'm a little older than you. I can remember back during my days, you would do what you were told just because you were told to do it.
Right.
But now, and I actually agree with the change a little bit. I think you guys want to and need to know why you're doing what we're asking you to do. So
Right.
we're not creating robots. You know exactly what you're looking for. This is what you're after, and I think that's super helpful. Now, on a personal note, what's your relationship like with Pops? Are y'all able to turn it on and then turn it off? Like go from business on the court to, just dad and son off the court?
Yeah, sometimes after basketball practice or after anything, we don't go home. We used to watch movies all the time, play games.
Yeah.
It's just like, we had a good relationship. We have a really great relationship on and off the court.
That's what's up, man. And I've talked to him because he actually let me in on something about a week ago. He was talking about your little sister.
Right.
And I knew she played softball, but I didn't know that she plays basketball too, man. How's having a little one? Tell me about her from your vantage point.
When she came out, it was a little different. I wasn't expecting her. She's kind of crazy. I mean, she's funny though.
Right.
It's like having a mini me. She's like my best friend, to be honest. We do everything together. She's always in my room, sitting there watching me play the game.
Right.
She's very active, so it's fun going outside, playing with her on the basketball court, on the goals. I try to teach her what I have and other things like that.
How old is she?
She's 10 now.
Ooh, yeah, that's good age right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Going down.
Yeah.
Now, whenever y'all compete, because I'm assuming that y'all have some battles every now and again.
Yeah.
Are you the nice guy that lets her win, or you beat up on her just to let her know, hey, now I'm still big bro?
It's funny because I'll let her get her edge, and
Yeah.
I'll just come and destroy her, and she'll start crying, and I'll have to fix it up. I'll like let her win sometimes, but most of the time I just let her know this ain't fair game. I'm gonna win.
That's cold. But give it a cushion, and she's feeling good, and then here you go, close the
Yeah.
gap, boom. But you know what though? That's type of stuff that'll get a tough skin, and she'll be ready to go and compete. And when it's back to girls on her level,
Oh yeah,
barbecue chicken out there.
she's gonna be a monster for sure. She runs track too, so she's quick.
Now what's she doing track? Cause that I didn't know.
Oh, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even tell you. She hasn't really been running a lot, but when she was, they said that at her school she was getting top 3 in almost everything she did.
Mm-hmm.
So she's real quick. It's crazy. We used to race. I ain't gonna lie. There was sometimes I think she would win. She was out there running.
He said, I ain't gonna lie. Anytime somebody say I ain't gonna lie, that means he about to drop some realism. All right, now we're gonna take it to the court, okay? Because you're a senior in high school now, and I've only known you for a couple of months, but I've always known who you are, at least for the last 2 years. What is your high school basketball experience been like? Like, so basically, take me from your freshman year when you walk in there, you're pretty much at the bottom of the totem pole, having to prove yourself and work your way into the mix. Now you in your last go round. Like, take me from start to almost finished.
So my freshman year, it was a little tough. I went out there. I didn't know anybody. I mainly relied on Isaiah, Evan, Harold, mostly the people that I knew that played basketball.
Mhm.
I had an advantage over them all through skill work, but
Right.
at the time I was still scared. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. So my freshman year kind of just went by quick. I was mostly on the bench. I think at one point in time, actually, I was playing varsity. Well, not really. I wouldn't say playing, but I was on the bench for varsity. Right. And then one game, I got taken off of varsity, and it hurt. So I started trying my best in practice. This one kid, he lost his jersey. My dad told me to put it on, but I didn't want to. I told him I wanted to earn it, so I ended up earning the jersey back. Still didn't really play much my freshman year, but my sophomore year, I played a little bit more. I wasn't a starter. I was mostly like 7th or 8th man off the bench, but I was still out there trying to improve for the team. But then, I mean, I could have started my sophomore year.
Right.
It was mostly my fault because I didn't take the opportunities that I was given.
Right.
I kept letting the opportunities go past. So to change that my junior year, I tried to take the opportunities more during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I came into the season, it just felt normal to take all these opportunities now. So it gave me the starting position that I felt like I deserved. And
right. As a junior,
yeah. And just doing my work and being able to make it all the way to state too. Man. I know this is my senior year. I just want to go out there, ball, at least try to get this ring. Yeah. If anything I can do. And I at least want my freshmen, sophomore, all my underclassmen to do their thing too.
That's right. Now, as a freshman, did you play all 3 levels? Did you play freshman ball, JV, and varsity?
I did.
Man,
I started both JV and freshman.
Right.
But I was on the bench for varsity. And then my sophomore year, I started JV. I was still on the bench for varsity. The junior year is when I started varsity. I didn't see JV after that anymore.
You know what I mean? And in my opinion, when I guess there are some exceptions out there. If you're at a top-notch program that's got, a bunch of athletes, you might have to stand in line. But, that was sort of the way my high school career went. Freshman and sophomore, I was playing a lot of JV as a freshman, just a little bit as a sophomore. And then as a junior and senior, it was all varsity. Now, here's what I want to ask you. I think I know the answer already, but I'm going to shoot it at you anyway. Because in some of my experiences as a coach, a lot of people would say stuff like, man, do you really want to have these kids playing this many games in a week? And I'm like, what are we talking about? These are teenagers. They don't get tired. So I remember as a freshman, right? Some of the freshmen I was coaching, they were playing freshman ball on Monday and Thursday, JV and varsity on Tuesday and Friday. So it sounds like you had some weeks that looked just like that one.
Right.
Did you love it, or was it like, man, this is too much?
I loved it. I mean, just going out there to see other people play, it just like, it was more of watching them playing and just figuring out ways that if I go out there, thinking of ways I can go out there and score. So it was more like, it was just love for the game. I mean, that's how I think of it. I know I got tired here and there, but just going out there and watch them, it was just something I loved.
Do you remember what your role was, like as a youngin', whenever you would get in here and there as a freshman or a sophomore on varsity? You know what I mean? Because I know sometimes when they put the youngins in there, they say, hey, just go in there and lock up defensively. Take an open shot when you get it. Like, what was your role? Do you remember?
My dad told me to shoot the ball whenever I got it. So that's what I would go out there and do.
All right.
I remember one play, somebody sent me a screen, go out there, shot the ball as soon as I caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my role was. Just go out there and shoot.
Do you remember when you made your first bucket in a varsity game?
Oh, yeah. I think it was a Southeast game. It was a 3-pointer.
How'd that feel, yo?
It felt good.
I'm official now.
Yeah,
you heard your name on the loudspeaker, name in the box score in the paper the next day. Now, I'm glad you're talking a lot about that right there, because I know you a little bit, and I know you're a hard worker, talented. You got a lot of gifts, a lot of tools in your shed. But did you ever have to deal with that stigma that you touched on a little earlier about being coach's son? Did you ever have to deal with some people not necessarily respecting your craft and how hard you actually work because they tried to attach you and your father?
Oh, yeah.
In high school?
In high school, for sure. It was one person, I'm not really going to put his name out there, but he felt like he was the best on the team.
Right.
And everybody at school, like, I'm not talking down on his name, but he just wasn't really good, so everybody at school didn't think he was good. But he could have sworn he was the best on the team. Every time we talk about basketball, the same thing he would say is the only reason why I was on the team, or the only reason why I was starting varsity, was because my dad was the coach.
Right. That was all he had. Huh?
That's all he had.
Man, how'd you deal with that? Because I know, listen, as a youngin', you gonna cap back, you gonna clap back and all of that. You know what I mean?
Okay, so my freshman, he was a sophomore. He was one grade above me at the time.
Okay.
So my freshman year, as we was playing freshman ball, he's a sophomore. He was playing freshman with us. He wasn't starting. So every time he'd say something about my dad, I'd be like, you was with us on the freshman team, not starting. That's my comeback for everything. That was my comeback for everything he said.
Mic drop, yeah. Like, what could he say after that?
He would say the same thing. It's because I chose to, but
Hey, man, it just kind of is what it is, right?
Right.
And then, the cream rises to the top and the turds float. That's just what I always heard from one of the wise men from back in the day, so I'm stealing that. Okay, so the junior year, that's last year. You guys make it all the way to the state finals. And now, before we get to the last dance, I always think that it's a turning point in every season, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say if the season starts in November, some teams start off hot and then they fizzle a little bit, and then some of them pick up steam later in the year.
Right.
How did y'all season go? Can you remember a point or a particular game where you like, okay, we starting to hit that stride now?
Actually, it was probably the second game, because the first game was against Heritage Hall. That was a tough game for us. Yeah. We lost.
I remember your pop said y'all got some hands put on you.
Yeah, that game, we was devastated, because at the time, we're running a good talented team. So during the summer league, we're honestly eating up everybody we play.
Right.
And we're all, with us thinking we're really good. Mm-hmm. So we thought we could go out there and handle Heritage Hall. We lost. It was devastating. The next day we went to a Kansas tournament. That first game is when it just changed for us. We was out there disciplined, just taking all the good shots. And from that point on is when we knew what we was doing.
Right. Were you in sort of a leadership role last year like you are this year, or did you have some other guys who were in those shoes, so to speak?
It was some other guys. I mean, it was like a switch off here and there.
Right.
If they wasn't saying nothing, Then it would be me and Isaiah, the junior, saying something. If it wasn't us, then it was the seniors. It was just switching off for all of us.
Yeah. Now, was it a good? Did you ever get good feedback from your teammates? Because I know how it is. We fellas, and we don't necessarily like somebody coming at us, but sometimes it's necessary.
Right.
Did you ever have to go there with some of your guys and they respected it?
Mm-hmm. We'd always tell each other after every game what we was messing up on. Like if there was somebody taking too many shots, we would all tell them, you got to stop, get to the rim, do something else, pass the ball. You're taking too many shots. That's what the team. That's what we would do. We was always telling each other what we was messing up on, things that we were doing great, keep working on it. Right. It was like a family for us.
That's what I'm talking about. And I remember seeing the article, with all 6 of you guys, what I would consider to be the top 6 on last year's team, had your dad on there and everything. Now, I want to ask about practice now, because when you got big time players all in one gym, in my mind, if it's handled correctly, I would think when y'all lock horns, it gets pretty competitive in there, man. How were those practices last year?
I mean,
especially when it was live action.
So there was times it wasn't really live action, but when it was very competitive. Yeah. I mean, we had another coach. He was funny, but I mean, he'd make like the people that doesn't start, he'd make them somehow good, and we would go against them, and it'd be like just a battle out there. People talking mess, going at each other, people locking up on defense traps. I mean, Coach knew what he was doing with them little kids, though.
He
knew what he was doing with them. So it was fun.
Now, how did y'all? I'm pretty sure y'all probably talking that noise in the hallway, seeing each other, talking reckless. All right, just wait till this afternoon. That's what I'm talking about, man. I love that kind of stuff. Now, your work ethic, okay? I happen to think that you, from a consistency standpoint, and this is just me being honest, not kissing your ass just because you're sitting here. I would say you're probably the most consistent hard worker that we have in the program over at Millwood. Where'd your work ethic come from? Was that something that came natural, or was it something you had to learn over the course of time?
My 6th grade year, everything happened through 6th grade year. My dad pushed me through everything. I would say my 5th grade year, actually. After school, with basketball practice, we go straight up to Cooper, and I work out with them kids. So it was just like right after my 6th grade year is when it just started elevating more and more. My work ethic just was in the gym every day, no matter what.
Were you able to see some changes in your game from I guess 5th to 6th grade?
Oh yeah, it was very noticeable. Since my 6th grade through 8th grade year, I wasn't really doing much, but when I got to the high school, it was just I could see the change. I was able to shoot better, dribble the ball better. It was just you could see the change. You could really see it.
What would you say one of your I don't want to say hang-ups, but one of your struggles were early in your career? And what I mean is, I can remember when I first started my career, I was like slow as a slug. I was tall, I could catch and shoot. Like everything else had to be developed. But then over time, I started to get a little handle, started to get quicker feet. But the only gift I had was shooting. Like, what did you not have when you first began?
To be honest, that's tough because my dad said I had everything. That's what he kept telling me. Sure. But the thing that I felt like I needed most was the dog mentality. I was scared. I mean, I'd be out there on the court. I'd catch the ball. 6th grade year, I was catching the ball, just standing there, twitching my feet. Just
went through that same thing.
It was just people start getting on to me. But I mean, it started changing my 7th grade year when I was able to control a little bit better, and everything. So I mean, it was mostly my fear, just going out there and hooping.
That's a hell of a word, man, because I got this philosophy. Somebody said it before. I can't remember who I'm quoting, but it made a lot of sense to me. They said there's a difference between being nervous and being scared. They say being scared is when you're not prepared, meaning you haven't worked on your game, so you should be scared of what's getting ready to happen. But being nervous is like being anxious, like you want to just do so well, so bad. Like, what would you say you were afraid of? Were you afraid of making mistakes, or that's what it was?
It was mostly mistakes, because I knew since my dad was a coach, I was just the one thing I was scared of most was getting yelled at by him.
Right.
I felt like every time he would yell at me, I felt like I wasn't doing good. I felt my encouragement just dropped down. I mean, it was just out there. I was out there like, either if I don't pass this ball, I mean, what else am I gonna do? I gotta pass the ball, because that's what I'm thinking. I'm just like, if I catch it, somebody's gonna steal it. If I shoot, I'm gonna miss. He's gonna say something. So every time I caught the ball, I passed it off to a teammate.
So he was in your head, and you were in your own head too, huh?
Yeah.
It took a minute to shed that skin.
Yeah, it took a while. And so I think it was my 8th grade year when I really started changing, because he wasn't really there all the time, and I was able to do a lot more. It was when my freshman year, when he got back into my head, that it took me until my sophomore year to get back out of it. Yeah. So it was just a process.
Well, that's good though, because I mean the fact that you can think back to it and be able to break it down, I can tell you got command of it now, and that's a good thing, man. Now we gotta shift gears altogether because we gotta go to the classroom. All right. What's your grades like right now? And I'm gonna tell you what I mean because I know that's a broad question. In my academic career, I've only the best I ever did was all A's and B's, and that wasn't every semester. You know,
Right.
I really wish I could go back and like apply myself a little more. But the most I ever got was all A's and B's. But I can remember, I talked to your dad a lot. And he was like, he always said, "Man, Myles, no, man, you know, but you gotta get this, you gotta get that." Like, well, did school ever come natural for you, or do you have anything you struggle with? Because I was an English guy, but math, don't give it to me.
It was my 6th grade year through 8th grade year. I had 1 C every class. It was one class. Like I have all A's and B's, 1 class with a C. All A's and B's, 1 class with a C.
Was the same subject or no?
It was different subjects every time. I think math was actually the only subject that I kept a high grade in, because math is something I actually love.
Right.
So it was either English, science, or history. It was one of them 3 that I always got a C in.
Now, did you get grief for that? With mom and pops on you, like, yo, we need to get this C right.
Man, my dad, I used to call him. I'd call him when I got my report card. I'd be like, I'd start crying. I'd be like, I got a C in class. And he was like, man, you need to fix that, man. And I just sit there. I sit there and cry. I hang up the phone.
No sympathy at all.
No sympathy at all. I go in the corner and start crying.
Yeah, man. But it's one of them deals. In one of the subjects, I think it was math or it was geography. One of them, like, I worked hard to get that C, and I was proud of it. You understand? But but one thing I do know is, like I said earlier, if I could go back, I think I would apply myself a little bit more. Now, how many times have you taken the ACT, man? Because I know you got at least 1 under your belt so far.
I've taken it about 3 times. This is my, I've taken it 3 times. This is my 3rd time that I've taken it. Actually, last week or 2 weeks ago.
You got another one in you?
Yep. I want to keep taking it as many times as I can. Got to get the best grade I can get.
Absolutely. And this is a conversation me and you, we've never really had, but I've always wondered, as far as playing ball at the next level, I know you aspire to do that, right? Right. Have you put in any thought into where you would like to go to school and play ball?
Actually, as a kid, I had one dream and one dream only, to go to UCLA. That's where I really wanted to go to play basketball. Right. I don't know what it was about it, but it was just something. Everybody would be like, where you going to go? I was like, UCLA. It was just something that the first thing that came to mind for everything. That's just what clicked for you. Yeah. Now, has that mentality shifted a little bit? Actually, it has. It has. When it was my sophomore year, that's when I actually changed my mentality, really. Not for the gym, but to actually start scoring more, because I felt like I had 2 more years left. And these first 2 years, I haven't done anything with them. So I'm thinking, I got to go out there and do my thing now. My junior year, I'm trying to go somewhere. And I know I can't just be sitting here on the bench. That's not getting me nowhere. I feel it. So I got to go out there and score, make good passes, play defense, everything I could do. Play the whole game, huh? Yep. Speaking of that, I'm going to poke at you a little bit here. Now, you mentioned Isaiah Williams a little earlier. You guys, 2 very good, talented players. You've had some publicity, some notoriety, but not quite as much as some of your peers. You know what I mean? How does it feel when you look at some guys that are the same age, same classification as you, and they're good players, but I'm pretty sure you feel as if your game is pretty much on the same level as some of these guys that's getting all the love. Right. But maybe you may not be receiving that same attention that they are. Like, does that ever play in your mind whenever you're going through your workout process or when you're in that gym? Yeah. I'll be in practice and I'll think to myself, like, what did they have that I didn't have? I mean, if I think about it, we're basically the same in almost everything. Right. But I feel like I'm honestly better because, I couldn't say that. I just feel like my skills were better than theirs. There's certain people that actually got looks and stuff like that. But it's just something they had that I didn't have at the young age, and that was the mentality, that dog mentality, to go out there and get it. So that's what held me back from everything else, unlike everybody else that had that dog mentality, that was out there go getting it, playing defense, getting the steals, rebounds, jump shots, and everything else. Man, that dog, that's a tough deal, because I promise you, dog, I went through that same thing. I just wasn't, like, if it's not something that's naturally in you, it takes a minute to learn how to be that way. And for me, I'm pretty sure it's similar to you. I just had some cats that were mean, man. Kids are mean. Yeah. And if you're out there getting fried, they don't do what you expect them to do. When they see you struggling, you think that, man, come on, man, we got you. They don't do that. They try to throw dirt on you, and they kick you while you down. Man, did you ever have one of the moments where somebody just busted you up?
or
Yes.
just didn't let you live, and you like, yo, I can't be a nice guy no more?
Yep. It was I can't remember what grade it was in. I remember you know who Micah Thomas is?
I do.
I was guarding him one time in practice, and he was just tearing me up. I couldn't do nothing about it.
Right.
My dad's yelling at me in the background. There was one point he got a bucket, and then I just broke loose. My dad got yelled at me again. I just started. So I lost it.
Yeah.
I ran to the bathroom. I ended up crying. I couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
I was just like, it's like I couldn't do nothing against this man. I mean, he was out there going
crazy.
Everything. He had everything I didn't at the time. I mean,
right.
The dog mentality to just go out there and win. I'm just thinking, go easy on me. But he was not. He was out there just basically showing I'm the man. So I was out there. I was just out there.
So a sink or swim, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned around from that point?
Yeah, that's when I didn't want to lose no more. I mean, I used to have a brother. He used to beat me and everything too. My dad, my dad knew I was better. I knew I was better.
Right.
It was the dog mentality for everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to change. If I don't change, then what am I doing?
Right.
I mean, I'm good, but if I don't change, it's not going to do nothing. So I just had to go out there and change. And one day I just felt like I couldn't lose no more.
When you went to a lot of the, I don't know what the right term is, but you've been on some visits, right? Or to some showcase camps and things like that.
Right.
Man, what are those like? You know what I mean? Are those much different from maybe an AAU experience, or much different from, playing high school basketball? You're there with a bunch of marquee guys, and everybody's, in a way, for lack of a better term, trying to get seen and get there.
Right.
What's that experience like when you're out there locking horns with them?
Actually, it's very different from AAU. AAU, you have certain people that still pass the ball here and there, but when you go out there on a showcase, if they feel like it's all about them.
Right.
I mean, there's sometimes here and there that I was actually have people pass me the ball. I was passing them back. We was actually doing things, but when at a showcase, it's like for them, they feel like it's all about them.
Yeah.
They want to go out there and get it. They want all the points. They want everything. It was just, the only thing about a showcase is defense.
Right.
When you on offense, I mean, that's what they feel like only the coaches are looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad telling me he would notice coaches be like, that's good defense, good box out like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they would just think it's straight offense.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just really different from AAU, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants their own. That's all they want.
That's true. And me being a proponent of, or a product of junior college, it was sort of that way. Like, people are trying to play to get that next scholarship so they can keep their career going. But, it's one of those things. It's like on-the-job training. When you get in the mix, you figure out how it is you got to move, how it is you got to exist in this space in order to get yours without turning into a selfish player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I got a couple more things to throw at you, you know what I mean? Because you've been super gracious with your time, and I definitely appreciate it. You could be doing a whole lot on a Friday night, you know what I mean, as a 17-year-old. Now, as far as life after basketball, you know what I mean? Because at some point, that ball is going to stop bouncing, right? And we got to figure out what we're going to do with the rest of our lives. Even if you're blessed enough to go and be a professional, at some point, physically, your body's going to say, hey, time's up.
Right.
Like, so whenever you do go to college, what do you plan to get into, man? What are your interests outside of hoops?
Engineering. That's something I've always thought about around the 7th grade. That's the one thing that I've always thought about was engineering. I don't know. It's just something about being able to build things, take things apart, and because I love math for sure. So it's just something about those just clicked with engineering for sure.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Engineering. This is going to be Myles Jeffries with a business card. You know what I mean? That's going to be you. But ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, I got to circle back to basketball because I forgot to throw this one thing at you. It's, one of my favorite little segments on my show here. I call it All Due Disrespect, right? And what I mean is, it's like we all got at least either a team that we played against or a particular opponent we lined up against that may have gotten the best of us, and we really just know deep down, man, this dude can't mess with me, or this team is nowhere near as good as us, but they got you that one time.
Right.
And if you could get it back, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's that one team or that one player?
It was Douglas. Every time they would come, it was just
hold on, which year
really
though?
A rival game though. You said what?
Which year?
My junior year for sure.
Okay.
When I started, it was one time some dude. It started my freshman year. I knew I was better. Some dude, he scored on me, and he was a freshman at the time. So I lost it. We'd go back and forth at each other all the time. Then junior year, he was on varsity, I was too, and we'd go back and forth each other. And that's when that's when we won. It was just, I was so happy because I was the one to finish off the game too.
There you go. So basically, you paid him back.
Right.
I like that. It's always a good feeling, man. All right. You have a job
Right.
as a 17-year-old. And I think, I mean, it's nothing new, but I still respect that grind, man, because you're a kid, and of course, you want to be able to enjoy yourself and do 17-year-old stuff. And you balancing books, you balancing your not obligation, but your commitment to basketball, and you got a job, man. How do you? I'm guessing you got a system in place to where you keep everything on point and you don't spread yourself too thin. How do you do it, man?
So, honestly, I try to do everything. I mean, I feel like I can do everything, so
Right.
It's not something I'm just like I don't want to hold back on, or I guess you could say.
Right.
So, if I can go to work, I want to go to work. I want to be able to make money because it's at this point right now. It's also like I'm trying to learn. I got one more year of
Right.
when I'm gonna be living with my parents.
Sure.
After that, it's basically by myself. So what I'm trying to do right now is be able to figure out how to live on my own. That's what That's what I'm doing right now. I mean, if I can go to work, I want to get to work so I can get money, be able to pay for anything I need to pay for, my car,
Heck yeah.
food, anything. I mean, I got to be ready to live on my own sooner or later.
Now, I'm pretty sure your parents haven't just told you, hey, man, now that you got a job, you got to pay for everything. Now, what are you responsible for yourself with your own money?
Right now, it's just probably gas money.
Gas money, that's what I figured
Yeah.
you'd probably say.
But it's
Yeah,
it's just a long drive though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long drive home and school all the time. So it's really just gas money right now.
That's the good news, though, where you can make it and save it because, you ain't got to pay rent, no bills,
Right.
mom and pop's cooking and everything.
Actually, now that you say that, I used to have to pay a phone bill at one point.
Used to, huh?
Yeah, I had to pay give my mom a 20 every month so I could pay for my phone bill. But at one point in time, my job didn't really let me work for like a whole month.
Wow.
So my mom started paying for it. I think she forgot because she ain't said anything about me having to pay for it yet.
Right.
So I'm just letting her pay for it for now, so I can just pass by with the gas money.
You know what I'm saying? Now, do you put a little away, or does it come in and then go out as quickly as it comes in?
Both.
Now listen, man, I'm telling you, Pops always says, pay yourself first. All right, get a little nest egg over here. You
My
know
dad
what I mean?
said, put it all there first, then pay yourself later, because he's always like, you don't know what's gonna happen with your car here and there.
Fair enough.
So I try to save up money, but sometimes I'll forget and just blow it all through.
Listen, man, I'm grown as hell, but I'm still guilty of that same thing, man. Dog, I appreciate you coming through and giving me some time. You know what I mean? We'll see you on Monday, and then we're gonna get back to the grind. All right, and we're gonna be right back next week with another episode. Appreciate it, Smoke, the producer. All right?
I got coins in my room from different countries. Baby girl want me to wife her. I tell her it